Very well. I'll call this regional council meeting to order. Developing meaningful relations with our Indigenous neighbors is a priority of the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. As such, we are collaborating with First Nations governments and Indigenous organizations to develop a respectful and meaningful territorial acknowledgement. This work also presents an opportunity to learn more about the culture and history of Indigenous peoples in our region. Please be advised that tonight's meeting is available for the public to attend virtually, is being streamed and recorded. Should virtual attendees wish to address council during either the public comment period or the question and answer period, use the raise hands feature on your webinar controls. When it's your turn and are prompted, unmute your microphone, state your name and ask your question. Once the question is ended, you will be muted again. Are there any council additions?
Danny has one, yes.
Go ahead.
I just think it's time that we're going to need to start a conversation with Moti regarding the attempts or to create some attempts to mitigate the problem of the feral bison that want to start moving into our area. So I want to talk about that.
Okay, thank you. So noted, Councillor Souls. Any other council additions? Very well. Any CIO additions?
Yes, Mayor, just update council on the pool staffing.
Very well. Can I get a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as amended? Moved by Councillor Andrews, seconded by Councillor Roper. All those in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion, please, to adopt the minutes of the Special Regional Council meeting of June 9th, 2022, the Special Regional Council meeting of June 13th, 2022, the Special Regional Council meeting of June 13th, 2022, and the Regional Council meeting of June 13th, 2022. Moved by Councillor Roper, seconded by Councillor Andrews. All those in favor? Carried. Are there any public comments, Ms. McIver? Thank you. This evening, it is my pleasure to welcome the president of the Fort Nelson Minor Hockey Association, Ms. Shastine Fisher. Ms. Fisher, care to take a seat over here, please? Press the button until the red light illuminates and speak to council. Perfect.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors, and administration. My name is Shastine Fisher. I am the president of Fort Nelson Minor Hockey Association. I'm here today to request our logo be displayed at center ice on the primary ice surface, free of charge until such point in time a paying sponsor is secured. The logo will cost our association anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500, and we are still in the process of recovering from reduced registration and waived sponsorship fees from the COVID pandemic. In a hockey slang, a rink or arena is referred to as a barn. And when our teams are attending out-of-town games, it's never a question of whose barn you are in because all you have to do is look at center ice. Fort Nelson Minor Hockey has actively been providing the youth of Fort Nelson with the opportunity to play hockey for over 45 years. Some players have now returned, excuse me, some players have now returned to coach their children. Our association is a big part of this community's history. Recently, during COVID actually, we took the opportunity to rebrand the association and give it an updated look and color scheme, one that was specific to Fort Nelson and original to the Peace River District. We wanted to provide our players and sponsors with the pride and distinction they deserve. We all struggled through COVID, but I'm so proud to say how well the volunteers and most members navigated their way throughout those challenging times. Not only did our tiering tournaments and playoff games provide some much needed economic stimulus to our community, but there was a whole lot of fun to be had. So much so that on a few occasions, the barn was packed. Subject to current COVID protocols, of course, but the energy was electric, and we are going to ramp up that energy even more this year with the introduction of our mascot, who is yet to be named. Our players, parents, volunteers, our community, everyone is craving connection. This logo will tie it all together and reinforce Fort Nelson's pride of our homegrown Grizzlies. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you this evening and hear our request.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Fisher? Councillor Penny.
Not really a question for Ms. Fisher, I don't think, but, so you say that, I guess part of it, you say it's about $2,000 for this to be placed on center ice?
2,000 for a small sticker and 3,500 for the full size sticker.
Okay, so that answers anyway, it's a deck all the way on there, okay.
Mr. Barry, are there any opportunities through NDIT for a grant for this, or?
I'm not aware. We could definitely check. I'm not aware of anything, Mayor, that on the top of my head. Jane? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, these are our fees that we charge, so there might be.
So the fee we're talking about here, 2,000 to 3,500 is our fee?
Yes,
No.
that's the fee.
Your fee is $5,000.
So
It's normally done as, I guess, a promotional, like the hockey board, like the arena boards, how they're done. Usually we'll have people in the community pay, right, to get a place on the board, and we split the proceeds, half with the municipality and half go to hockey. I believe you guys have previously had sponsors such as like in Canada who would pay like $5,000 for that slot, but recent years it's been NRM.
yes, I honestly, Mayor, I don't have all the.
So the 2,000 to 3,500 would be the cost of the sticker.
To
The
Fort
cost of
Nelson
the,
Minor Hockey, yeah.
okay. And that's, Ms. Laval.
Thank you, Mayor. Up until they left the community, Black Diamond was our main arena sponsor, and they paid the fee to have their logo placed at center ice. And so that fee is a marketing, rental, advertising fee. So that is what minor hockey is seeking to have waived. The 2,500, 3,000 is the cost to produce the vinyl that actually is the logo that sits in center ice.
Okay. Councillor Gerwin.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't know much about hockey, so forgive me. So are you asking for like the, whatever goes on center ice, that would be our fee? So you're asking that to be waived, and then you want like, no, sorry, confirm for me.
No, Aaron, you had the correct language there. We're just asking for the municipality's fee to be waived.
They're asking us to waive our advertising fee for placement of their logo on our ice.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Councillor Roper.
So it's an advertisement fee. Does that represent a physical cost, an actual cost to us, be it labor or anything else? Or is that just revenue that we're hoping to get for the privilege of having an advertisement in the middle of the ice?
Exactly. There are no operational fees for the placement of the logo because it is this a vinyl that goes down on top of the ice, and the water is just put over top of it. So it's not painted, it's not anything like that. So there's no operational cost to install the logo.
Okay, and just one more follow-up question. You said previously there was another company that would go for that advertising. Are there any other proponents that want to advertise, or is it just the hockey?
Not sure the current status of where the advertising piece is. We'd have to confirm that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, given the state of the community and from an economic perspective, I would suggest people aren't beating on our doors looking to advertise for sure, but I don't know where we are currently with you.
Councillor Gerwin.
I think the kids would love to see this at center ice. I think it would just be really, really exciting. So, yeah.
You know, if there was an opportunity for someone to, pay for center ice, I think that would be fine, but currently there's nobody who wants that space. And I think we could give it over to a minor hockey free until such time as somebody else wants to come along and pay for it. We can take a look at it at that time. Councillor Penny.
I would actually be on in mind that we put this logo there and we don't ever look for another proponent to go there, because as I said, this is our barn and this is gonna show it. So,
Councillor Andrews.
That's my very struggle. I love the idea. I would like to see the logo there. I would hate to see it go. Right? Like, so that's the part I'm hanging up on is, yeah, do we look for another person? I don't think so. And I think it would be cool just to have it there.
Very well. Is council prepared to make a decision today? Counselor Roper.
One more is that I would like to see it be the bigger version as opposed to the small version. It's quite a nice logo. We want to give it as much attention as possible.
Very well, then I'll make the motion that we waive the fee for the arena signage in the center of the arena. Seconded by Counselor Roper. Is there any discussion? Counselor Penny.
Do we want to put any stipulations on a time here that it stays there for?
I guess
Turn it.
until council decides differently.
Okay, perfect. I just didn't want any language to be there that until a proponent comes along and want to pay for it. I want it to be there until somebody says it has to go.
All those in favor? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor Costa and councilors.
Reports, bylaw administration report number 50, signage and pullout development request. Ms. Krista Vanderstein. Ms. Thompson.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. Krista, our Economic Development Officer, has put together a report for your consideration, and this is in response to the delegation that visited during our May 24th Regional Council meeting. And this is in relation to the request that Super Kennel's recognition sign branding be considered by Regional Council. So the report outlines some opportunities that create opportunity for broader public engagement, including the Great Northern Circle Route Master Signage Plan, avenues through the Tourism Strategic Plan, as well as the Downtown Revitalization Planning Project. There was also a report provided by Corporate Services during the, an administration report that was provided in the fall of 2021 for council's consideration that spoke to the commemorative naming of parks and features and facilities. Essentially, there's a lot of opportunities coming up through these initiatives that would allow for broader public engagement and input on how we'd like to recognize various cultural and historical important features that make our community great and our region great. So rather than making an individual signage decision at this point, we've recommended that the decision on the Streeper Kennels recognition sign be held for consideration with and considered during the ongoing community engagement opportunities, and that we communicate this back to the delegation for further input through those avenues.
Thank you. Any comments? Councillor Andrews.
How long are we looking for? Because do we have a general consensus yet on what these signs are going to look like? Because I would like to have this sign out sooner than later.
So the Great Northern Circle signage is supposed to be, they're supposed to have a master plan in place by fall. Through that, there's opportunities, they explore opportunities for developing kiosks and things like that, where you can highlight a bunch of different things coming into a community. It also allows for standardization within that circle route. The downtown revitalization, the engagement, excitedly, is going to be kicking off at the beginning of July. There's going to be a public survey that's going to go out, as well as some in-person engagement opportunities at the beginning of August, and then opportunities for input from the public on our online portal as well following that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Very well, I'll make the motion that the Streeper Kennels recognition sign concept be held for consideration within the ongoing community and regional projects and be included in initial discussions for signage implementation, and that this community is communicated to the delegation from the May 24th Regional Council meeting. Do I have a seconder for that?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Penny. All those in favor? Any opposed? Please record Councillor Andrews as opposed. Thank
I
you.
just don't want to wait.
Moving on to administration report number 51. Counselor Penny, would you please take the chair? As I have a conflict of interest. Thank you.
Okay, administration report 51, 52. Should stop by earlier. Pardon me? Okay. You're on. It's all yours. There you go. Take it over.
Thank you. Well, good evening, councillors. So the report I'm presenting today is in regard to the development variance permit application we have received. The applicant intends to vary the two sections of the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality zoning bylaw. One of the variance requests seeks that a shop and accessory building be sited in front or forward of the principal building, and the second variance request the relaxations of the interior side yard setback to 1.8 meters. The subject property is situated within the RR1, known as large lot rural residential zone. The applicant intends to replace the existing rotting shop with a new shop about double the size of the current one, which has created hardship to maintain the required setback regulations for the side yard in relation to the principal building. The site plan is attached in attachment 1 on second page, where it can be seen that the proposed shop sits non-aligned with respect to the property line. The applicant has stated that adhering to a 6 meter setback from the property line would cause the shop to obstruct the view of the access road and cover half of the existing parking area. The land topography beyond the principal building slopes downward on the south side, making it unfavorable for the shop locations, and west portion of the property is currently being used as outdoor seating area. Typically, NRM procedures requires the regional council provide preliminary consideration to the DBP application by approving to proceed with the notification to the adjacent property owners within 400 meters, which is for the rural residents from the subject property to meet the legislative requirements, and that is the recommended one. Also, in the following report, information about the unintended issues and infringements to the zoning bylaw will be covered if there are any. Such informations will include the presence or absence of easements, right-of-way, screening from the old Alaska Highway, and other aspects of zoning bylaw, including density, height, parcel coverage, and other setbacks. That's everything from my side.
Does anybody have any questions?
I just have something, just was thinking of how we've run into a number of these overall, and quite most of them have been in the rural residential areas where there's already a pre-existing. I really like the report. I really like the fact that there was some legwork done by the owners as well, and conversations that were referenced in the report of already talking with their neighbors and so on. I think that's just a fabulous report. So I think it's a great idea.
Councilor Gerwin?
Yeah, I'm ready to make the motion recommended.
Okay.
Yes, that staff proceed with notification to adjacent property owners of the details of development variance permit application 2202 per S 499 of the Local Government Act and in accordance with the NRM procedures.
Seconded by Councilor Roper. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Mayor can come back.
Administration report number 52, strategic priorities fund application for town square renewal addendum. Ms. Luann Watson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This admin report is specific to a request to make application to the Canada Community Building Fund. There's a few numerical typographical errors in this report, which I detected about 2 hours ago, and I apologize for that. So I'll simplify some of these reports by right in the recommendation. The total project number is $6,922,530 is the actual number. It's not 550, it's 530. And this fund is up to a maximum of $6 million is the potential funding that we may get from it. The project specific to this application is for the energy piece for the HVAC. It includes the walls, the windows, and the roofing. We found a few minor additions that would also fit under the objectives of this project, so we added those as well. And I take you down to the table, and there's one typo in this table where it talks about the Class D construction estimate at $5,127,880. It actually ends in $800. These are the right numbers. The numbers in this table, less that correction. So you might recall we brought to you the energy estimate or the energy audit, options. And the number we gave you at that time was $5,060,000. So we added a few things like doors and lighting and which fit within the objectives of this grant and came up with a Class D estimate of $5,127,800. You also may recall we went to you with those all-in costs and we added those soft costs and contingencies. This project adds 10% of those all-in costs for contingency and 10% for soft costs. In addition, on the day we wrote this application, inflation was up to 7.7%. So in order to provide for the unknowns up to next year, we added a total of 15% just to make sure we're covering all potential costs. So the total project cost for this grant is $6,922,530. And we are just seeking authorization to make application.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Watson? Very well. I'll call the question then that we approve that staff proceed with notification. I'm sorry, that staff, that a grant application to the Canadian Community Building Fund in British Columbia Strategic Priorities Fund Canada Capital Infrastructure Stream be submitted for the Town Square Complex Energy Retrofit Project for a total project estimate of $6,922,530 with funding up to 100% to a maximum of $6 million. Do I have a second for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Andrews. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Administration report number 53, statement of financial information. Mr. Ryerchuk.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This report is to support the recommendation that Council approved the Northern Rockies Regional Municipalities Statement of Financial Information, or SOFI, for its 2021 fiscal year. So this is an annual legislated requirement under the Financial Information Act. Provided some of the details to that in the report. But I'll skip pretty much to the end, just speak a little bit to the analysis. We prepared the SOFI in accordance with applicable legislation and followed guidance provided by the Ministry of Finance. And it included a review of the requirements and collection of information from previously completed management reports, which included the audited financial statements and T4 submissions for 2021. And then we also put together a schedule of payments for goods and services compiled from our accounting system.
Are there any questions for Mr. Ryder? Very well. I'll make the motion then that the council approve the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality Statement of Financial Information for 2021. Is there a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Penny. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Ryder. Administration report number 54, Northern Health Quarterly Status Report. Mr. Ryerchuk.
Thanks again, Mayor Foster and Council. This report is for information. In late May, Northern Health provided their fourth quarter 2021-22 capital status report for information. And as Council will recall, the MOU between Northern BC Regional Hospital Districts and Northern Health describes categories of activities the MOU applies to, along with the reporting and communication requirements of those activities. And on October 12th, 2021, Council had directed staff to create a set of metrics by which the NRRM can measure communication levels with Northern Health. We provided some background, which I suspect Council is familiar with regards to our relationship with Northern Health. If I just jump down to the analysis, I'll mention as requested with regards to setting metrics, the following communication metrics have been summarized from the MOU. And it should be noted that while there are several points of intent related to communications outlined in the MOU and listed in the table, some items may be blended. And the table just outlines all of those items, the status, whether they've been met. And there's a couple of items which the timing of which is unknown and not met. However, this quarterly report that we've received from Northern Health, we do expect it to become more consistent and to meet some of these expectations. One of the things that we did do out of interest was do a reconciliation of the report back to our budgeted amounts and just so that we can hold Northern Health accountable. We did two types of reconciliations, reconciliation between the budget and the payments that we've made to Northern Health, and then from those payments to the quarterly status reports. We found that over the past few years, there were minor differences between what we budgeted for and what was ultimately requested as grants, and nothing that necessarily required any further investigation. Timing difference more than likely, just because our budget process occurs or finalizes prior to Northern Health's. A couple of things to note. In the 2021 hospital district budget for an ultrasound machine, the budget was $41,000 and it was completed at a cost to the regional hospital district of just under $18,000. And another outstanding item is with regards to a boiler where the remaining budget is just over $67,000, which we suspect will receive a claim from Northern Health. Under the reconciliation for payments to Northern Health to quarterly status reports, we had noted that expenditures where there were no expenditures for building integrity projects, and that amounted to around $71,000. At the time the report was written, I didn't have a response, but I can say that a response was received And all of those funds have actually been expended now, so I would expect that those will show on the next quarterly report that we receive from Northern Health.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Ryachek?
Yeah.
Councilor Goring.
Thanks very much. Like, I really enjoyed reading this report. I really like how it's laid out and easy to track. I did have one question under operations and general, where it says opportunity for the regional health district to meet with the Northern Health Board. And then the description is when the board meets in the RHD's jurisdiction, which I don't think that the board has met here for at least 8 years, probably more, to discuss matters of mutual concern related to the capital plan and to receive any other feedback and input. And that's supposed to be done annually, and it says that this has been completed. So I'm wondering, how has it been completed? Because they don't meet here. And so was it completed somewhere else, like staff or the mayor or somewhere met with the board outside of coming to the NRM? Or yeah, just some clarification on that, please.
I can speak to that. So that's one of those areas of overlap. So yeah, you're correct. The last time the Northern Health Board met in Fort Nelson was during the NCLGA conference we hosted pre-COVID. I want to say, I can't remember the year because my past blend, 2018. I should remember that. It's my daughter's birthday. But anyways, yeah, so that was the last time they were in the community, but that's one of those things where I feel like there's several commitments made throughout the MOU that blend. So the next one down is at NCLGA and UBCM. Northern or RHDs are always given the opportunity to meet. But obviously the board can't meet in every RHD jurisdiction annually because they only have 2 board meetings annually. So I think it's one of those expectations that while it's explicitly outlined in the MOU, it's not feasible. So maybe it's a suggestion for the next go around on the MOU.
Councilor Goring.
Yeah, so then I'm just wondering if this maybe highlights something that as council that we can ensure that we do have an opportunity to meet with the board annually, whether it's here or we go somewhere else. I don't remember ever meeting with the board, met with the board chair, but I've never met with, that I remember anyways, the board of Northern Health. So I think that this kind of highlights something, and yeah, might be something that we look at in the future.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ms. McIver.
Can I just raise, so the other part of council's resolution from the fall was around writing a letter to Northern Health subject to those metrics. So I just wonder if that's something that you want to communicate through that means.
Councilor Gerwin.
Well, I think that there are some areas that, according to the report, that we haven't met the communication, like as per what the MOU says. Some areas have not been met. So I don't know how council feels about it. I think it would be worth engaging with Northern Health. I like how when, you know, you found that $71,000 hadn't been accounted for, then all of a sudden it was accounted for. So it might be, it might be good to still continue to send a letter to Northern Health just to say.
Need a motion for that? Moved by Councilor Gerwin, seconded by Councilor Penny. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Ms. McIver, adoption of the 2021 annual report. Admin report number 55.
So happens every year like Christmas. The 2021 annual report has been provided as an addendum for review. So legislatively, municipalities are required to prepare and consider a annual report prior to June 30th annually. And in so doing, the report must be available for 2 weeks for public review and feedback. So we are suggesting that we include this on the July 11th agenda for formal adoption. And at this stage, it's being provided to you for review. So I would openly welcome your feedback and comments between now and then. And we can ensure that this draft is updated accordingly. And come June 11th, or sorry, July 11th, I will bring back all of the public feedback that we anticipate receiving on this report.
Will that be done in one meeting?
I hope to get through it in one meeting, yes. It's not typically something that the community gets engaged in, but nonetheless, we always hope that people have a look and let us know if we've missed anything.
Very well. Is there any comments? Ms. McIver, do you need a motion for that? To adopt the annual report or the draft?
Nope, it's just provided for information.
Very well. Okay. Any comments? Moving on, correspondence, letter to the Honorable Omar Algebra, Minister of Transportation, letter of support for Fort Nelson First Nations Pacific Great Eastern Railroad Comprehensive Project proposal, and letter from Fort Nelson Family Development Society concerning issues in the community. Received for information. And received for information, Council Information Package, June 15, 2022, Council Information Package, June 22nd, 2022. New business items, CAO additions, Mr. Barry.
Okay, Mayor, just sent a note to council today just around the pool operating hours. We are continue to have challenges with the staffing. It's if anyone saw the news and the issue on lifeguards, and lifeguards is a national issue right across Canada. We're doing what we can, looking for options, looking at options outside the box and whatnot to see what we can do to train and recruit. But that said, we are definitely short-staffed, and as such, starting July 1st, we'll see a reduction in services. Where our goal is to still remain operating 7 days a week with shorter work, or I guess operating hours within each day of the week. The schedule, I guess, will be fluid, for lack of better words, because we're going to basically maximize whatever availability we have of lifeguards. So if we have a week where we can provide more service, we're going to do it. And then there'll be some weeks where, due to challenges with absences or vacation time or whatnot, where you might see a different reduction, or see a reduction for that week. So apologize that we won't necessarily have a consistent, but we want to maximize whatever hour we can at the pool when based on availability of lifeguards. Going into next weekend, July 1st, we do have a 4-hour free swim that's been sponsored, or 4 hours of free swimming, I guess. We are limited with what we have, so we do have a cap on the amount that we can get in for that per swim that day. And unfortunately, the pool will not be open on the second. We just don't have the staffing. The rest of the week we are open, and as I said, we're going to, as I said in my communication to council today, the intent is to create a balance between the various users. We have some early morning users and we have some evening users. We can't satisfy both each day, but we're going to adjust the schedule accordingly to try to create a balance so that we can try to satisfy as many of the users as we can. And one of the priorities that we had was to continue to maintain the swimming lessons throughout this process. And we'll keep you posted on our challenges and opportunities to staff it up.
Any comments for Mr. Barry on staffing of the lifeguards? Very well. Councillor Souls, your addition to the agenda. Bison.
Okay. Regarding Bison. Okay, so I received a call just very recently from a very concerned bison farmer in Fort Nelson, who, just to give a little bit of background, you will all recall the visit of the Fort Liard group of bison working their way down the Highway 77 and joining us along the Alaska Highway last fall. when that initially took place, there was communication as soon as it caught the wind, and Ministry of Environment found out that there were bison on the highway. They phoned our local bison producer and chewed him out for having bison on the highway and so on, and threatened him with a close to $50,000 fine if it was his buffalo that were on the highway. Then they backpedal when they find out it's their own bison on the highway, and refused actually to do much to help to get rid of the bison, to get them to move on and so on, even though simply because there's not really many mechanisms. And the idea of passing the buck went around, that whole issue went around in circles. Ministry of Ag said it wasn't their problem. Ministry of Environment initially said it wasn't their problem. COs said it wasn't their problem, but it eventually landed with the COs. And last year, some bison were hazed with private time. One individual spent 3 days moving those bison back up the highway, and along with a couple of RCMP officers that had attended for a while. Anyway, that was last year, just for context. Once those animals figure out where there's good grass and good grazing, they're not going to reduce their visits. They're going to ramp them up. And that does seriously jeopardize not just the one bison farmer that's here. Those animals are not used to fences. Bison that are not used to fences tend to go through them. There's cattle producers along the Alaska Highway there. And it's deadly when the two types of animals cross over. I think that we need to take measures or begin a conversation with Modi to take measures. And there is a measure we can take to try to keep the wild bison separated from the tame bison and the rest of our agricultural program. And if you'll recall that for many, many, many years, we had a Bailey Bridge in place. That Bailey Bridge across the Nelson River acted as a cattle guard. It's the type of bridge with a mesh floor on it. Those animals will not walk across. And in conjunction with that idea, there are many roads both in this province and in Alberta, especially in the foothills of Alberta, that have cattle guard crossings on them. They're just an insert that's put into the highway that have a bunch of crossbars with gaps in between, that they prevent the ungulates from wanting to walk on them. And so I suggest that we start a conversation with Modi about installing a cattle guard on the north side of the Nelson River Bridge. So just regarding that particular bridge and the bison, last year there were, I don't know that it's a complete fix, but some of the bison crossed on the bridge. I believe that they crossed first. Other bison were down along the river and saw the ones that had crossed. And I went personally and walked to try to do some forensics on where those animals crossed. And there was a few of them that swam the river. That's kind of bad news. But I think that if we could actually, this year, the ones that have come across, there's already several, their tracks have been noted to be on the bridge. So I think we can make a strong case with Modi that we need to act soon to install a cattle guard on the north end of the bridge, and hope that we can stem that before it becomes a real problem.
Thank you. Councillor Andrews.
Should we put one on the south side as well for other ungulates? Just so we don't get anything stuck on the bridge?
Yes, that would be a very prudent idea. Yes.
So Councillor Souls, you recommending that we write a letter to the Ministry of Transportation on this?
Yes, I meant to just start it as a conversation, but I am quite interested in making a recommendation to get the ball rolling. So yes, I recommend that we write Modi and tell him our predicament and ask for a solution to it ASAP.
I believe Minister of Transportation is on our list for UBCM, so we could also bring it up then. If we wrote a letter now, maybe we could bring it forward to the Minister of Transportation if we are so lucky as to get a meeting with them. Any other comments? Very well. Councillor Souls, you want to make a motion that we write that letter?
Yes, I make that motion.
Seconder for Councillor Souls' motion. Councillor Roper seconds it. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Standing items for discussion, council reports. Are there any council reports? Councillor Penny.
I just wanted to give an update on the first annual Rotary Fishing Derby at Buncho Lake, which the council was nice enough to sponsor the use of the app that we use to run the event. Give you some numbers. We had 139 paid entries to the event this year, 17 of which were from out of town. Places that I actually got to speak to people from were Grand Prairie, Dawson Creek, Fort St. John, Chetwynd, Carcross, Teslin, and Whitehorse. And I had many other people that reached out and wished that they could attend this year, but just because it was only a couple of months lead time with the app, that they didn't have time, but are looking forward to if we were to do this again. So I think it was a very successful event for a first year to have that many entrants, and my biggest focus was having so many people from out of town. It really put a spotlight on the Northern Rockies. We're very fortunate. Everybody worked in our favor because the lake flooded the week before, and it looked like it was going to be difficult even for accommodations. And then the lake level went back, and life was good. We had our derby. The weather held out all weekend, and then it was only days later that the level rose up to the point that it was washing out the road. So somebody really wants this to happen. So yeah, we're making arrangements right now to put it off again next year, and I will be coming back to council again once I have accurate numbers to hopefully sponsor that app again. So
Thank you. Councillor Gerwin.
So yeah, I attended the Summit Run It on June 18th. So compliments to Krista Pearson and Angela White, the event organizers. There were 50 plus people walking and running up the mountain. It was fantastic to see families, kids, and peer groups out for the day. The sense of accomplishment on the faces of the participants as they crossed the finish line was really, really fantastic to see. I attended the Fort Nelson Public Library board meeting June the 20th. Stats for May were 1,697 people through the door, 2,884 items were lent out, 168 uses of the public computers, and 214 patrons attended library programs. The library board continues to work on a new strategic plan process, the renewal program, thanks Scott, and policy and procedure review and updates. I also attended the chamber board meeting on June the 23rd, and the board recently finished their strategic plan, and they're just completing some fine tuning, and I'll hope to bring that to you for the next meeting. That's all.
Okay, any other councillors? Very well. June 17th, Councillor Roper and I attended North Central Local Government Association. We discussed finance, solid waste governance, healthcare, and crime. And Councillor Roper gave a nice update on things in the Northern Rockies. And then I chimed in with a few more. So that was the 17th and 18th of June. 21st, of course, we met with Inspector Struthers and Sergeant Lacey and our own conservation officer, Mr. Clancy, here at the town to discuss bears. 23rd, attended the swearing-in ceremony, the Chamber of Commerce directors. 23rd, also grad ceremony, had the honor of speaking to the grad class, graduation of 2022. And then, of course, the Toad River meeting we had on the 25th, Toad River. That's it for me. Are there any other comments from the media? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion that we move to close meeting pursuant to 91C of the Community Charter. Moved by Councillor Andrews, seconded by Councillor Roper. All those in favor? And we are in an in-camera meeting. And I'll recall the regional council meeting to order. And I'll ask Mrs. McIver, is there anything we can rise to report? Very well. I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all and good night.